We're going to start this week with order of operations. Okay? If you think back, you might remember something that we used to call in high school bed mass. Okay, and that's what we're looking at for order of operations, is bed mass. And when we did that, we talked about doing the brackets first, or parentheses as some people call them, doing the exponents next, then doing the division or multiplication in whatever order they appeared. So it wasn't division first and then multiplication, it was division or multiplication, whichever one came first. And then the same thing, it was addition or subtraction, whichever one came first. So from a point of view where it's really brackets, then exponents, then either of those, then either of those. And that's what your order of operations is. To do your math, you have to do the order correctly. Now, we're going to look here at a couple of examples, and we're using fractions on these examples. So here we go. Right. So let's say I had 2/3 times. Remember, you can use the dot for multiplication. Okay, so instead of the times sign, we'll have to use the dot. 2/3 times 15 plus 3/4, something like that. Right, and looking at the slide, I see they're doing order of operations with fractions. Now, a couple things to remember. One, 15, we probably need to turn that into a fraction and make it 15 over 1 so that we can do the multiplication. Now, in this case, multiplication comes before addition. So we're going to multiply. 2 times 15 is 30. 3 times 1 is 3. So 30 over 3 plus 3 over 4. Okay. And that's going to equal, well, 30 over 3. That happens to be 10 over 1. So that's really nice to reduce. Plus 3 over 4. And my common denominator is going to be 4. And that 3 does not change. So 10 over 1, 1 times 4 is 4. 10 times 4 is 40. So you're going to have 43 over 4. Okay. Now, what I'd like to do, and I'll do it in blue, is I'd like to look at the exact same question, but how does it change times 3/4, and this, of course, right away will make this 15 over 1. So what if we're adding first, multiplying next? Okay, we're not actually adding first. Adding just happens to show up first, but based on bed mass, we still have to multiply first. So what we do in this case, 15 times 3 is 45. 1 times 4, we'd look at that because we'd have to do the multiplication first. Common denominator here of 3 and 4, common denominator is 12. 3 times 4 gave me 12, so 2 times 4 is 8. 4 times 3 gave me 12, so 45 is 135, because 45 times 3 is 135. Then we add this, and we get 143 over 12. Right? That is in lowest terms. We learned that in week 2. We could say or. We could say that is 11 and 11 over 12. Both of those are correct. We could write it as a fraction in lowest terms, or we could write it as a mixed numeral. Both of those are correct. But notice we're doing the multiplication before the addition. See if there's anything else here before we move on. Ah, yes. We will talk in the next slide about some of the more complicated ones.